the tutorial on eyebrows. Now I am going to talk through this one and I hope you guys enjoy. Now remember, all the stuff I'm using, you can sort of substitute it and do things that, or use things that you want to use. This is just what I use and how I like to do mine. So stay tuned. I hope you guys like it. Comment, leave all your comments and all your suggestions down below, and I'll go ahead and I'll try to reply to them as much as possible. I will take you guys' advice if you have any, and I also will like to know what you guys want to see next. So leave me those messages, or leave a comment, or inbox me, find me on Facebook or on Instagram, and I'll get back to you. Alright, bye. Alright guys, I'm back. So as you can see, I already did one of the eyebrows are already done. And I'm going to go ahead and do the other one, and I'll walk you through step by step as I do it, and I'll show you the products that I use. Now what I do is I start off with a eye pencil, like a brow pencil, and this one is Strut. I believe it's, Strut from Matte, and it's a retractable pencil. It's really fine. It's really small. This one is a little light for me, but I actually like to draw my eyebrows in a little bit lighter so that I can go ahead and darken them up as I go. It's like if I lighten my hair or anything like that, or if I sort of make a mistake, I can always go in with a darker one to sort of correct it. And to me, I just like them because it looks more natural for me. A good copy, or a good substitute for that one, is the one from Rimmel London, and it comes with a little brush on the tip of it. This one is in the dark brown, and it's really good. The only downfall to it is that you gotta sharpen it every time, because I really like to use a little fine point or a tip on them. They're almost identical as far as swatches. I'll sort of show you one. The thicker one is the one from Rimmel, and the very thin one is the MAC one. You can see that they're very similar. It's just preference, you know, or if you don't want to spend $18 on one from MAC, you can go get yourself one for a couple of bucks from your drugstore, like CVS or something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm going to draw in the shape that I want, and that's what I use my pencil for. Actually, I use my pencil to sort of draw in everything and sort of clean things up afterwards with some other product, or I just fill in any gaps with another product that I'll show you guys later. So what I do is I sort of took this trick from someone on YouTube, and what they do is, because I know I like to have the head of my eyebrow a little thinner or a little bit more translucent than the rest of my eyebrow. I just feel like it looks a little bit more natural that way. So what I do is I sort of draw the line, one on the bottom and one on the top, but I don't fill in the middle. You'll see in a second. Now one thing I do want to show you is where you should sort of, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you guys how to sort of draw or where the actual points of your eyebrows should be. Now a helpful trick is to sort of get something like your pencil or anything like a stick or something, and what you want to do is where your eyebrows should start is sort of the bridge of your nose. So what you would do is line your pencil up to the bridge of your nose, which is like the line of your nose, and where that starts right there is where your eyebrows should start. So I always just like mark it, leave a little dot there. Now to get to where your arch should be, or where the highest point of your arch, I just look forward, and then wherever like my eye ends, or I guess the end of color, I guess you would say. I don't even know the right word for it. But wherever that ends, that should be the highest point, and this is with you looking forward. That should be the highest part of where your arch should go. So I leave a mark there too. Go ahead and put a mark there. And the mark, we can always clean it off in a second, which I didn't leave a mark. Let's put a little higher. There you go. And now to find out where your eyebrows should end, some people like to draw their eyebrows on a little longer. It depends on what fits your sort of face frame, I guess you would say. But ideally it should end where you should sort of line it up with your lower lash line. So if you can see, your lower lash line sort of curves and goes up. So what you do to get your reference point, you line your pencil to the lower lash line, and then you sort of tip it, go to the tip of your nose there, and that's where your eyebrows should end. So I leave a little mark there too. And that's going to be sort of your drawing point of where you can fill it in. So like I said, we're going to go ahead and fill them in. Now I'm going to start with probably doing a lower line first. And what I do is I do small little strokes. So you're going to see I'm going to sort of go back and forth, and I'm just going to keep going until I get to all my dots or all my points. Now, if you're sort of not doing it in the line or as perfect as you would like, you can always clean it up later, and I'll show you guys how. But ideally, it would be best to sort of take your time and go very slowly so that you don't have to do a lot of cleaning, especially if you're doing your eyebrows after you already done your foundation. So if you can sort of see on my last video, I've already done my foundation last time, but I sort of know where to clean or where to do my eyebrow, so I try to stay in the lines, or I'm just usually filling in my eyebrow. But let's say if you're doing it before your foundation, you can sort of go a little bit more messier because your foundation will help you clean up those lines also. So continue. And there we go. We're at my point here, where my eyebrow ends. Where it starts, we're going to go ahead and fill in the upper one here. Okay, so now that I got sort of my lines on the top and the bottom, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of fill in the rest of my eyebrow. Wherever there's sort of like some bald areas, like right up here on the tip of the little arch here, I'm going to sort of fill all that in. Now, I know a lot of people that like to use, say like a little powder or like a brown type of eyeshadow. All that works. I actually tend to use that after I tend to fill in all my eyebrows because I want it all to be sort of the same color, and then I would add more dimension by doing a different or a darker powder or even a darker pencil. But remember, when you're filling it in, you don't want to fill in the head of the eyebrow. So you're going to start naturally where your eyebrow starts getting a little darker, and you're going to go ahead and fill that in. And again, you're going to do small little strokes because you don't want to get too heavy-handed with your pencil because they tend to break or leave it a little darker in that spot, and we want to try to keep them as uniform as possible. Now remember, not everyone's eyebrows are always going to be the same. I know naturally this eye over here has more of a curve than this side, so I just got them fixed not too long ago, so I try to keep them as similar as possible, but if I can't, then you know what? They're eyebrows. They're not supposed to be identical. You have to try to make them as much as you can to be very similar, but honestly, no one's eyebrows are ever the same. I think one time someone told me that your eyebrows are like sisters. They should never be twins, you know? So try to keep that in mind. Try not to be too perfect unless you're working with like a stencil or something, or if you have no eyebrow and you can just sort of fill in as you go. That's the only way your eyebrows are going to be perfect. But I mean, we're trying to go for the natural look, so. Okay, so once they're filled in, I get my spoolie, and your spoolie is like those little eyebrow brushes that usually people tend to throw away for some reason. This one I got from e.l.f. and I think it's $1. They're not expensive. You can get expensive ones. I don't see the need for them. If you want, you know, you can even go on Amazon and get like bundle packs like this. And I believe these are like $2, and it comes with like 100 of them. I tend to stick with my one from e.l.f. only because it's cheap. I can throw it away if it gets too old and ugly. It's $1, like I said. What I do, because I feel like it's easier, is I bend the tip. And if you can see, it sort of looks just like this. So I bend the tip, and it's easier for me to sort of follow the shape of my eyebrow and as I'm blending. So once I get to sort of the middle, I tend to flip it over, and then I go downwards. So you'll see as I do it. So what I'm going to do is these two lines, what I want to do is sort of blend them into the area. So as you can see, I'm going to go ahead and start blending them in. The lower one I'm going to blend up. The upper one I'll blend down. And then the rest I sort of just comb through, because this is going to sort of blend the harsh lines away. And there you go. So next, what I do is, like I said, I either would take another pencil and I'll start to fill it in sort of the areas that I feel are a little bit more loose or a little bit more transparent, like up here in my arch. But what I'll do is I'll use either a powder or, like I said, another pencil. I tend to like to use a powder because I can control it a little better, as far as that's just my preference. What I do is I go ahead and I use a powder now. The powder that I have is this little palette here, and it's from Morphe brushes, and it comes with 4 different shades. It looks just like this. 4 different shades. And I tend to stick to the lighter shade only because I can go lighter and then darken it up. Now, the reason why they give you so many is because people that have darker hair naturally have darker eyebrows. So say you had jet black hair, I would never do a black eyebrow, by the way, need to tell you. But say someone has blonde hair, and what they'll do is they'll go ahead and they'll do something like this, which is the color I actually use. And if not, I would sort of do something a little bit darker. And it's more for someone like with red hair, I guess you would say. That's just what I would use. Now, there are other companies that have their own brow kit. I believe e.l.f. has one. I think it's like $3. And it looks something similar to this. This one is the one from Benefit, I believe. And this one was pretty pricey. I got it from Ulta, and they were having it on sale, and it was still like $30. And what it does, it comes with like a little grease, or like, I guess you would call it brow wax. I don't like using the brow wax. I mean, I've used it a couple times, and I can live without it. But the powder is actually what I use, and it comes with little pencils, or not pencils, it comes with a little brush, something similar to this. And you're gonna see that's what I use to fill in my eyebrow. Now, I actually will use the one from Morphe, the little palette, and I'm gonna go ahead and take the lightest shade from that little palette, and I'm gonna go ahead and start going over basically what I went over with the pencil. And you're gonna see it starts to get a little darker, which is what I like. And the color gets a little bit more natural to my sort of hair, or tone of my hair, or my skin tone. And I'll go ahead and fill in the front a little bit. Now, the arch is where I'm usually like have to fill in a little bit more, only because I don't have such a high arch, so I sort of drew it in that way. And you're gonna see when you put the powder over it, it almost like sets the pencil. So it means your eyebrows are not going anywhere unless someone really doesn't like you and just licks them off, and then you need to fight them or something. Okay, so now that we're all filled in, what you're going to do is go through it again with your spoolie just to make sure you got all the loose powder sort of off, to blend things in again nicely. Keep your hairs all in order. Now you can stop here if you're going for if you're going to do your foundation afterwards. Now would be a good time to stop, because then you can sort of clean it up with your foundation. Now if you're doing it afterwards, obviously before you set your foundation with the powder, you want to go ahead and do it, or you can just do the next step that I'm going to do. And if you were to stop here, or say you weren't going to do any makeup and you're just doing this for your eyebrows, this is where you would stop, and you would use something like a clear mascara. I believe this one is from Maybelline. Yeah, Maybelline. And it's just a clear mascara, and what it does is it's just going to sort of comb your hairs and make sure everything is all in order. It also takes away that dry sort of look from your eyebrow because of the powder and things that you're using on it. But this is not where I'm going to finish. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you guys how I actually clean it up. Now, I know you guys are like, I've seen people have those perfect eyebrows. Now what they do is, instead of having such like blurry lines like this, they would go in with a concealer, is what I did on the other side. And I use Max Pro Longwear. It's a little concealer like this, and I believe they're really not expensive. This one has lasted me forever, and it's almost at the end, but I sort of just use it for eyebrows now, just to clean up my eyebrows. And this one is in the color NW35. I go with one a little bit lighter on my lower line here, because it sort of acts like a highlight for my eyeshadow, or even a base for my eyeshadow. Sorry for the noise in the background. It's my nephew. So like I said, I go with one a little bit lighter than my skin tone, only because it acts as a highlight, and it basically will pop the eyebrow and make it look perfect. So that means you can skip the tweezing for a couple of days, or if you're in between waxing and your hair starts to grow back, this is what's going to cover it. So what I do is I take a small little detailed foundation brush, and you can get these anywhere. I believe MAC or e.l.f. has a line of it too, for $1. You don't have to invest a lot into it, especially if you're just trying them out, because as you get better with your eyebrows, you're going to see that you're going to be able to do it a lot faster. You'll see what's comfortable for you. So what I do is I take a little bit on my brush here, and what you're going to do is you're going to sort of trace your bottom line there, and you're going to try to go very slowly, because this is what's going to make the line look really sharp. So I go ahead and I start. And you're going right over all those messed up little lines there that you might have overdrawn your eyebrows. Put a little bit more on. Hope you guys can see. And there you go. So I just take the rest of the product that's on there, and I make the line a little thicker. That way we can sort of blend it out a little bit. Now if you put a lot, you can actually blend it all the way down to your lower crease, and then you can do your shadow over it, and it helps your eyeshadow sort of stick in better, or stay on better, or show brighter, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so now you definitely can see that there's a harsh line between my skin tone and the concealer. So you can either use your finger and sort of blend it down and blend the line away. What I do is I sort of take like a little, I guess you would call it a crease brush or something. This one is from e.l.f. I think it's called a contour brush or something like that. It's really small. It's really fluffy. I believe it's synthetic for it being $3 or $1. So what I do is I go ahead and I sort of blend away the harsh line, and you're gonna see me getting a little closer to the eyebrow, and that's just to make sure that the color looks nice, or the color blends into my skin. Blend, blend, blend. Now this is where I stop. Now you definitely can do the top also. I don't like to do the top because I like mine to sort of look a little bit more natural up there. And by natural I mean like not so chiseled or not so cut. If you were gonna go ahead and just do your eyebrow without doing any kind of makeup or afterwards, you would want to get like concealer that's your exact skin tone for your upper part of your eyebrow. Okay, so there we go. Sort of cleaned up a little bit. As you can see, I don't really put the concealer in the middle, only because I like that whole translucency of it going from light to dark and then sort of end at my tail. This one is a little thicker on the tail of this one. So what you can do is either you can fill it in or you can thin it out. So what I would do is I would sort of thin this one out, and to thin it out, you're going to use your concealer and it acts like an eraser. Now, you normally would use one that's a little closer to your skin tone, but after this I would probably end up doing a foundation afterwards. So what I'm going to do is thin this one out just a bit. And there you go. Blur away those lines. Don't want to look like you have some eyebrows that are lifting up out of your face with all that bright highlight around it. And there you go. We're going to go ahead and put some clear mascara over it just to put all those hairs in order. And there you go. Eyebrows done. I'll sort of zoom in so you guys sort of see. Okay. So I hope you guys liked my eyebrow routine. I hope it was helpful for you guys. I'll put all the things that I use in the description below. I'll try to find the prices of the things, but if I can, I'm sure I'll put the website so you guys can look them up. They're quite easy to find. Again, you can always use alternative things to substitute. Go to your drugstore, you know, try to find things that are gonna sort of work in your budget. Definitely don't spend too much if it's not something that you're going to be doing a lot. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to leave your comments below. If you guys like the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe and share and tell me what you want to see next. Alright, hope you guys have a nice one. Bye.